Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm finally doing my December reading wrap up. I'm only a few months late, just a few, it's fine. I realized while I was prepping for this video that I read a lot. I read 10 books in the month of December. I am not going to be talking about all of them today. I already did a reading wrap up in the beginning of December because I participated in 3 different readathons in December, which is why I read so many books. So I already did a reading wrap up for one of the readathons. It was the 'Tis the Season-a-thon. So if you're interested in knowing how I felt about Snow and Love, Letters from Father Christmas, The Signal Man, and the first Harry Potter book, watch that video. I will not be talking about those books in this video. The other 2 readathons that I participated in December was Harry Christmas to You and Christmas at Hogwarts. I was very successful for 'Tis the Season-a-thon. I was not as successful for these 2 readathons. Harry Christmas to You, the goal was to read all 7 Harry Potter books in the month of December. After reading the first Harry Potter book for 'Tis the Season-a-thon, I continued on to read books 2 to 4. So I didn't make it to 7. 2 to 4 were rereads for me. As always, I enjoyed my experience reading them, and I rated those 3 books 5 stars. Christmas at Hogwarts was a little bit more complicated. It took place from the 17th to the 26th, and then after the 26th, Book Roast, who created the readathon, was like, you know what, if you're not done yet, still give yourself a few days if you'd like. Even with the extra days, I didn't finish. Much like the other Hogwarts themed readathons that I participated during the summer, this readathon had a path you needed to take, and you had to complete one thing before you were able to move on to the next thing. This was the path I took. The first prompt was to finish your coursework, finish your current read, and at the time I was reading Harry Potter 3. Which is The Prisoner of Azkaban. That one is actually my favorite book in the entire series. And then the next prompt is when you had a choice. In the end, I chose Help Hagrid Decorate the Tree, a book with a golden detail. Towards this point, I was really worried about not being able to complete any of the prompts because I was really busy with work. And so I picked up The Polar Express. And of course, I didn't think to write down the author. It's Chris Van Allsburg. I ended up rating this 4 out of 5 stars. I remember reading this as a kid, and I really enjoyed it then, and I enjoy it now. It's very quaint. It's what that Tom Hanks movie is based on. The story follows a little boy who's doubting his belief in Santa Claus, and in the middle of the night, the Polar Express just shows up in his front lawn, and he's given the choice: board the train and go to the North Pole or not. And he chooses to actually go on this train to go to the North Pole. And this journey tests his belief in Santa Claus. So you definitely feel for this character. Of course, the magic of Christmas is quite prevalent in this story. It was a fun read. And the golden detail on the cover was actually the little medal award thing that was stuck right on the cover. The next prompt was Visit the 3 Broomsticks for Pixie Wine, a read that should only take you a day or evening. And like I said, I was worried about not completing any of these prompts, so I picked up another short book, which is The Night Before Christmas by Clement Seymour. This was another book that I read a lot as a kid. I listened to this in audiobook. I was able to find the audiobook on Hoopla, and it was definitely different. I'm not sure if I enjoyed the audiobook as much as I enjoyed sitting down and reading it and seeing the pictures, but it was still fun. The overall story is about a man who wakes up in the middle of the night to see Santa Claus in his living room. It's very short and to the point, but even though it is short, you still feel that the anticipation of Christmas. And it could be because a lot of it's nostalgia factor for me, but I still rated this 4 out of 5 stars. And this is where in the readathon that I kind of fell off. The next prompt that I chose was Sneak into the Kitchen to Gift Dobby Some Odd Socks. And for this, I chose to read a Christmas book. Another Christmas book. Of course, I didn't write it down because in the end, I finished it in January, so I'm going to talk about it in my January reading wrap-up. It's a book that I actually talked about in my TBR that I had every intention on reading and that just didn't get around to it. It's My True Love Gave to Me 12 Holiday Stories, one of those books that just had several authors write little holiday-themed short stories. So I picked this up for this prompt, but I didn't finish it. While I was reading this book, I also was listening to an audiobook, which was for the next prompt, Read a Banned Book. And for that, I chose to read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. In my household, we weren't allowed to read Harry Potter for religious reasons. And of course, when you tell a kid that they shouldn't read something, what are they going to do? They're going to read it. I mean, you tell a kid not to do anything, they're going to do it. I did read one other book that wasn't associated with any of the readathons, and that was, I Must Say, My Life as a Humble Comedy Legend by Martin Short. So I had some time in between readathons where I hadn't gotten a chance to actually get all the audiobooks for the Harry Potter books that I was going to be listening to. So while I was in between books, I decided to listen to this book. Martin Short actually narrates it. It's an autobiography where he talks about his life, how he got into the business, his relationship with his wife, like how he met his wife, and then dealing with the loss of his wife. He was very candid throughout the book, and he made some jokes that I found funny and some jokes that I didn't necessarily find funny. But he did go into detail about his time at SNL, which I found to be really interesting. And of course, when he talked about his wife getting cancer and then the consequent loss of his wife, that was hard to listen to. So even though this book was funny and lighthearted, it definitely had its dark moments. In the end, I rated this 3.5 out of 5 stars. So that's it. That is everything that I read in December. Let me know down in the comments if you read anything good recently. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.